So this is the 36th movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, following the events of the previous ones. Basically, the culmination of phases 4 and 5 stars Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, the new Black Widow, who's not real happy in her job. She's kind of dealing with a little bit of depression and ennui. Doesn't have a lot of fulfillment. The film starts with her, carrying out this mission, and she's like bored and sad, and she's like punching and beating up guys, but she's monologuing over, kind of a little aimless in life. And so her handler, played by Julia Louis-Drefyfus, Valentina, says, "Hey, we got one more mission for you. Go clean up this vault. I need you to get rid of all this stuff." And she gets there and is immediately attacked. And other people show up, and everyone's trying to kill each other. And they realize they've been kind of set up by Valentina. And we run into other past heroes: John Walker, otherwise known as U.S. Agent, who's a super soldier; Ghost, Taskmaster, who we saw, I think, in the previous Black Widow; a newcomer named Bob, played by Lewis Pullman. And they realize like something's wrong. They've been set up, and so they've got to work together. They got to escape this vault, and they're going to go after Valentina and say, "Hey, what's going on?" Meanwhile, Congressman Bucky Barnes, formerly the Winter Soldier, is in Congress. He's a politician now. He's working that angle, trying to make changes there. He gets sucked back into his role. He's got to help out this band of misfits. And meanwhile, again, Bob, played by Lewis Pullman, he looks like a normal person, is also a bit superpowered himself, and has a lot of surprises. This has a lot of action, a lot of fun, a lot of heart. It's got it's different in tone than a lot of other Marvel movies. Kind of takes on some serious subject matter, more serious than Marvel has done in the past. Some ups, some downs, lots to talk about. Zach, what do you think?
So I like Thunderbolts. I think Thunderbolts is better of the recent Marvel fare. And if anything, the thing I find frustrating about Thunderbolts is that more of Marvel's films don't seem to meet this bar. The last few years, things have been a little lacking in Marvel land. And yeah, there's some highs like Deadpool, Wolverine, or I guess Captain America recently, but I think Captain America Brave New World early this year is a better example of, a mid-Marvel, a Marvel mid, a Marvel that's just kind of fine. It's not great, it's not incredible, but it's not terrible. You'll have a fine time watching it. This one lands a little bit more on the good side, right? Like, it's a good time. It's pretty funny. It's a pretty bouncy script. A lot of good characters, surprisingly good chemistry. I really actually liked Wyatt Russell in this. He's surprisingly fun time. Lewis Pullman's good. For those of you who haven't seen him, he'll always be my torn up Vietnam vet from Bad Times at the El Royale. Overall, pretty fun, I think. And I do like the darker tone. We should probably get into it. I know we don't do spoilers here on this podcast, but what do you think? Thunderbolts with an asterisk. Do we talk about the asterisks first? I mean, I don't know.
Yes, because this has been very public. This film has already been renamed The New Avengers, and that's the whole point. The asterisk was basically a hold, working title, basically, and it's not Thunderbolts. They're The New Avengers, and they're doing all this press where they're like ripping the poster off and revealing the new title. I feel like it's really confusing because I've been calling this movie Thunderbolts for like a year, and so to all of a sudden change the title, I think it's kind of confusing to people. And also, like, the distributors, anyone who has to deal with marketing materials is probably a pain, because like if you go to the Cinemark website, it still says Thunderbolts. It doesn't say The New Avengers, because that's confusing to people. So that's what that is. And funny enough, do you know what I thought the stupid asterisk was? There's a scene where our heroes are climbing up this tunnel, and they're kind of all back to back, and they're having to crawl up, work together, and they kind of create a star shape. And I was like, oh, that's them working together. It's like the most wildly, that would have been so much more clever.
Yeah, and there's a poster where they're all like locking hands like over a table that's got the asterisk on it. Like, it does seem a little bit like people come together. I thought it was going to be like Thunderbolts and Sentry, right? Because that's our character, Lewis Pullman. I want to say Bill Pullman every time. He's not the dad from Independence Day. He's Lewis Pullman. He's his son. Yes, he's playing this character, Bob, who is odd and has something unique about him that we're kind of trying to figure out. What's this guy's deal? And then, like, as the movie kind of progresses, you find, okay, there's definitely more to him than meets the eye. He ends up being a character that our other characters kind of have to reckon with. But ultimately, like, I like that the battle in Thunderbolts starts with Florence Pugh, who ends up being kind of our lightning rod character, which I didn't expect. Like, I knew she was on towards the front of the covers, right, with our cast in images and posters, but she ends up being kind of our lead, de facto lead in the movie, and to great effect. The movie opens with her, and like you said, she's just not doing good. Like, things are going bad. Like, she's not doing well. She's sad all the time. She's alone. She doesn't have anybody. So when she's trying to pivot and get into something new, that's where she finds opportunity with Valentina, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Yes, goes to this facility, runs into all of our other characters, and so begins Thunderbolts. It's funny because I've seen a number of people say that they thought that the film would be a lot more in that space. Jay Bowman from Red Letter Media had said that he thought the whole movie was going to take place like in this lockdown facility and be a bit of a bottle feature. You found yourself thinking, my God, we're like an hour into this and they're still here. Where's this whole thing going? I don't know if that's like a result of reshoots. I don't know if that's just where a lot of the movie was taking place. This is always a funny thing in Marvel movies, right? Like, they got to tweak endings and adjust things and change the way this character works because somebody said this thing 3 Spider-Man movies ago. I can't even start to put together the red string on the corkboard of where this franchise is exactly, but this is a good effort towards that. We're going to pull some people together you've seen from other stories. We're going to put them in something new, hopefully find a direction. Call them the new Avengers, I guess. Yeah.
So, okay, I don't know whether to start. Let me start with performances.
I was going to say, I gave you no rope to go in a direction there. I was just like, and that's it. That's what I think. Go ahead. Yeah, please.
So I think our central cast of heroes is really good. Thunderbolts. No. Florence Pugh,
yes,
is great. She brings the star power. She has to do some real acting in this. There's been a lot of comparisons to a lot of people that worked on A24 films are also worked on this film. You see a little bit of crossover, but the rest of our cast is really good. They definitely brought in Sebastian Stan / Bucky Barnes / the Winter Soldier. He seems like he was added kind of later in the process, but does a great job. The film definitely needs it. John Walker is good as this kind of fallen from grace hero. You will have needed to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, that TV show from 4 years ago, to know his backstory. I think one of my favorites was actually David Harbour as Red Guardian, who's also a super soldier. He's the comic relief, and man, he just cracks me up. And one of the things I like about this film is it feels like it's moved on from some of Marvel's habits. Like, Marvel was known for that really quippy Spider-Man-esque dialogue where there's a joke every 2 seconds. And this gets away from that, but David Harbour is the comedic relief, and he's really funny. I was dying at like all his gags. Like, they really worked on me. I think the only person who doesn't really work is actually Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and it's not that she's miscast. I think just the role is the wrong role. Like, because she's trying to do something a little bit between a military person and a Tony Stark thing, and it just, the tone of it doesn't really work. I feel like that role needs to be played more serious, the way like a Robert Redford, like when he was the president, or John Hurt when he was one of the generals, or even the great Brian Cox when he played Colonel Stryker in one of the Wolverine movies. Like, you got to play that role a little bit more straight, and she just kind of seems a little miscast, and the role seems weirdly written. That's the only thing that kind of doesn't work for me.
Yeah, Dreyfus is playing like kind of Veep, right? Her character on HBO, but not Veep. Like, she has all the authority of her character from that. She's like I think she's like de facto president. I'm not even sure if they say it in the movie, but she seems to be acting with some great authority at the higher end of the government. So if she's not, I guess I got it wrong. And she's got an assistant played by Geraldine Viswanathan, who we most recently saw in Drive-Away Dolls. I rewatched that just the other night. I should have talked about that in our rewatch segment in the open. And she's playing this kind of character who's like Tony Hale in Veep, but isn't Tony Hale in Veep. This like sheepish, like assistant who's like got an iPad and is like, yes, ma'am, whatever you need, ma'am, like running around. Yeah, Dreyfus is like playing this weird like stand up for, I don't know, like corporate Marvel, right? IGN had a great write-up on this. They said Thunderbolts is like two halves, right? And one half works great and the other half doesn't. The half that works great is the serious side, like the more like elevated, almost like A24 stylings, right? I say A24 like it's a thing, but you know what I mean?
A genre.
It's the part that's about sadness, and it's the part that's about darkness. It's the part that's about Florence Pugh being like, why do I feel bad all the time? And like, why don't substances help? And like, why don't I have anybody in my life, even though I'm supposed to be this person who's, you know, strong strong and powerful and independent. Like, and I like the way that these other characters share this, right? You get a little bit of this with Wyatt Russell in a scene that I've been dunking on. Lewis Pullman's got some of it. Even Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character has a moment. This comes out because of a character in the film who when they touch, have the physical connection, they immediately like have like some sort of flashback to like this horrible moment when they were a kid, like big anxiety. And it's nice. Like, it's nice that these characters who are a little ambiguous get that filter. They get that lens in the movie. Like, hey, even the people you don't really like are complicated and come from a place that's like challenging, you know? So maybe we should give each other a little bit of grace. That stuff's good. The stuff that I felt like was clunky was like the Marvel stuff, the homework. Oh yeah, the Avengers are in this universe and they're not around, and Valentina bought their tower and is working it over, and then they're gonna name them the new. It's like, this is all clunky and chunky and feels like homework. This all feels like too much work. It's actually a really welcome relief when Sebastian Stan rides into the film a la Terminator 2 on a motorcycle in the desert. Has this really great action scene, blows up like 5 things. Like, boy, this is how I'm supposed to feel when I watch this stuff. And then before you know it, you're back in like impeachment hearings, and it just feels like this weird lens that we're already like this alternate bizarro mirror world. We're already dealing with our current universe and government. And it's like, it's just messy and chunky. I feel like a lot of that, like I said, is a result of like the Marvel corkboard of, we have to connect this to this because in 2 movies we're doing this, and we got Fantastic Four coming out in July, so we better make sure that this lines into this. Okay. Like, that all feels like a lot of work, but the core of this movie, the base of it, I feel like is solid. And like, that's what makes this work. Captain America Brave New World didn't have that luxury. It's more the Marvel homework side. And it just feels like, I don't know. It feels like a written assignment or something you got to take home at the end of the day. This is not that. This feels fresh and different. And like, thank God, I think Marvel needs more of these. It's frustrating that their last few haven't been like this, but also like, I realize this is expensive and they spend a lot of money on this and it may not make its money back, which is a whole other problem.
Well, so I've been having a lot of thoughts about Marvel in general, and one thing, the MCU is going to have to end at some point. Like, you cannot keep doing this you couldn't do this for another 35 films. You know, it is becoming so convoluted. This is the same problem that comic books have. At some point, you either have to permanently end it and start over, functionally reboot it, or do kind of soft reboots, which is what they do in comics all the time, where you, you keep the stuff that works, you get rid of any, decisions or canon that people didn't like, and you just redo it. In 2011, DC had the New 52. 5 years later, they did Rebirth, and they kind of just reset things. And Marvel is going to have to do that at some point because it's just getting too complicated and too convoluted. And or you have to do things that, like DC does, things like Joker, or even Guardians 3, that it's like you have to just kind of do one-offs that are good ideas and work, but they're going to have to kind of end this in the next several years. I don't think they have phase 7, 8, 9. I don't think you're going to get through that.
I think Guardians 3 is actually an apt comparison because Guardians 3 goes dark in a similar way to Thunderbolts. So it's more animal cruelty on that side, but even still, like, something that's surprising for what you're watching. And I think that surprise is welcome, even if it is kind of dour. Like, the same applies for Thunderbolts. I don't know if it's a Kevin Feige problem, but I do know that most, big sports coaches only last 5 or 10 years before they can them and hire somebody new for cheaper for new strategy. It just feels like maybe this era is kind of going towards something. And just like Guardians 3, James Gunn, director of that, is over at DC doing exactly this, right? Like, charting a path forward. And he's got a lot of people interested in Superman and where that's going to go in July, competing with Fantastic Four, which is going to be nuts. Keep it here on Off Script for more. But for Thunderbolts, I think it would be easy to tell folks that this is a better Marvel movie. Question is it mandatory viewing? Probably not, right? Like, you're not going to tell, I don't know. What do you think? I guess recommendations. Are we here? Are we across the Rubicon? All right. Andy, would you recommend Thunderbolts?
Yeah, overall, I would, especially for Marvel fans, because I have heard some Marvel fans who really liked it and they love the character. So if you're a big Marvel head and you've seen all the properties, all the movies, TV shows, you love the heroes, it's definitely for you. If you're a little on the fence, I would say maybe save it for streaming. It is a fun time. Love the score by Son Lux, who scored Everything Everywhere All once. Just wanted to mention that as well. So a lot of it works. Some of it doesn't. It's a little long at 2 hours, 20 minutes. It could probably shave a little bit of time on, but overall, recommend.
Yeah, I think I'd recommend it as well. It's not like mandatory. If you've got Disney Plus and you're not going to go see it, it'll show up on there. Check it out. It's one of the better ones. It's probably a good primer for what's coming next. I know Fantastic Four is out in July. We'll be covering that here on the show. If you want to hear our Fantastic Four review, all you got to do is hit the subscribe button, and we will have that to you post-haste come July, along with Superman and other comic book stuff. We'll keep you informed. That's what we do here on Off Script Film Review. Keep you informed. With that, we have like 18 minutes left in the show and 3 segments to move through, so we're going to get going, baby. It's time for one of our favorite segments. We're back at it. Andy, what do we call this?
The Death of Cinema?